You're in the control room. 80s Soviet nuclear reactor type controls and buttons and dials. The brain tissue that connects everything. In the room are. Let's ask the question. Will, do you want your character to be in the room or back at the wagon?
Like I'm fine with either. Obviously, like I'd rather not sit out the entire session back at the wagon kind of thing. But I am confident you've got an idea of pacing and timing and stuff. So if this is like an ongoing thing, I'm happy to be wherever I need to be, kind of thing.
I'm terrible in pacing, so maybe it's a better idea to have you at the in the control room as well.
Okay, cool. I'll just been quite quiet the entire time.
Always in the background. Okay, so in the room, there's obviously Saffron extending their hands. Chris, can you describe in a few words how Saffron looks like?
So Saffron is this kind of somewhat featureless robot humanoid with kind of this pallid gray silicone skin that is currently unpainted, so it kind of feels a little featureless, wearing this dark gray-green robe. And they're currently bent over, kind of hand on the ground where some of the brain tissue and stuff is kind of joining together and like trying to combine touch and voice and thought to see if they can make a connection to this machine.
Yeah, I imagine it as being like a node of where the tissue forms like a kernel or something.
Yeah.
And next to them is Nida. Puckett, can you describe Nida in a couple of words?
In this situation, Nida, I'm really wary. This is alien. It is unusual. Ajax is with me, but I don't feel as though we're particularly safe here. And this is well outside even my fairly well-traveled area of expertise. This is weird, even for the stuff that I've seen. And I don't think that my cloak is necessarily much protection. Don't think the armor is much protection. So I am fidgety and twitchy.
And I mean, Nida is always a bit twitchy. It's probably a bit stronger than normal.
It is absolutely stronger than normal, and it may well be magnified by the Ultra J starting to wear off.
Oh yeah, of course.
So it's not just that normal level of I'm ready to shoot anything if it moves in the wrong direction or in the wrong way. It's that plus everything here is moving in the wrong direction and in the wrong way, and I'm not sure I should shoot any of it. And also, why am I starting to feel cold and then really hot, and it's alternating between the two? And why am I suddenly sweating, and why do I feel queasy?
Mm-hmm. And then I think Azure D probably is entering the room right now because she was a bit later fetching the brain in the jar.
Yep.
So can you describe Azure D?
Azure is surprisingly stylish in this post-apocalyptic world. She's got a big plastic face bubble that protects her from the elements, and she's got kind of a stylish, what is it called? A-style dress or something like that. And she's got this weird kind of scarf necklace thing that's looks like it's made out of plastic, and at the end it's got like a ring, like a plastic, like it's made out of the same material. It's got a ring, and she holds on to that. Be kind of like in weird tense situations. And other than that, she looks like a very stylish lady from the 60s. Hold on, I'm not getting anybody's voice now. Everybody's voice cut out. Let me mute and unmute.
No,
I was muted.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. I was saying something super intelligent, but yeah, no, I was muted.
You know what? I couldn't access that dice roll. It gives me yes,
yeah, me too.
Gateway 502.
Yeah.
If you
refresh.
reload a couple of times, refresh, it should do the work.
Yeah, it just says like it's not a secure connection, not all that stuff,
Yeah, I had the same result.
Again.
Yeah, just refresh a couple of times.
Worst case, we can just
there we
roll
go.
on whatever we have and just
Yeah, exactly. You can also roll actual dice.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, suspiciously quiet last time is our folk hero Hamish McRainbow.
Folk hero, yeah. Yeah, Hamish is a brawny man wearing like fatigue, like well-worn fatigues and patched vest with a big broadsword across his back, and he has a shaved head and a big, like closely trimmed, bushy beard that is been stained with the industrial refuse of the Redlands district into the rainbow color that gave him his name, his notorious bandit name.
Awesome. So there is the cackling of loudspeakers that you all hear, and a little bit of silence, and then a soft voice says, "I can understand you."
Well, that's a little simpler than I had feared, I guess. Hi, I'm Saffron. These are my companions, and we saw that you seemed to not be in such great shape.
I haven't been in a good shape for a very, very long time.
How long?
My internal clock stopped working.
I get it.
I do remember you or your kind. We are not that dissimilar.
We potentially share some common heritage.
Do you envy them?
Oh, do I? And is this the?
This is the
machine speaking.
Machine speaking.
Do I envy who?
The makers.
Unfortunately, we don't know anything about them. There's nothing to envy. I guess I envy the fact that they were able to do it, but...
Yeah, like a long sigh. And then the voice says, "Oh, by the way, I'm Johnny 7. Nice to meet you, Saffron."
Likewise.
What happened to Johnny 5 and 6?
I haven't been in contact with them for a long, long time. I fear that they have vanished. Or maybe I should envy them as well.
I couldn't let it go without a Johnny 5 reference.
I seem to remember that the biological creatures need sustenance, and like a minute later, it looks like a penguin, probably like a metal penguin, enters the room with like a tray. A tray, like a tray that you would find, a plastic tray from a cafeteria or something, with some weird looking slug like eggs on them, and the penguin passes, like approaches all of you, and offers the eggs. Any takers?
I'll take one.
Hamish will take a handful of them.
Are these drugs? Are these drug eggs or egg drugs, or are they just eggs?
Like they look like. Do you ask Johnny 7?
You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and eat a couple of eggs. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
I have a couple of ideas what could happen, but
I mean, I could turn into a Vohm. I mean, they could be drug eggs, and I could be addicted to something else. I mean,
it's true.
You know, it could be like pomegranate seeds for Persephone. There's any number of ways it could go wrong. But I mean, that's a future problem. I'll let future me handle that one.
So they taste a bit like unseasoned tofu, and has a similar consistency. And Johnny 7 says, you know, I remember being really proud of what I did, and it's all gone now. All I create is tainted and deficient.
What did you create?
I could create everything. Whenever the punch cards or information would come, I made cars and refrigerators and jetpacks and what have you. And now look at the production floor. It's all trash.
So you can't make anything if we find some punch cards?
If you would find the originals, I could make everything.
Mm.
Do you have any idea what those originals might be?
Well, in the times before the planes burned, there were cities, but the cities of the plane, they're all gone. Maybe you find them in the ruins.
Are there any here?
Let me think. Have a look at the map. If you go to the character keeper, and then the map, let's see. Yeah, I think Fallen Umber. There are ruins at the Fallen Umber.
Can you take us there?
Do you want to travel with me?
We have some things we need to retrieve.
But yeah, definitely. If you guys are all if you guys are down, why not?
I mean, it sounds like it could be valuable.
Yeah, definitely.
Besides, you seem lonely. Maybe you could use some friends.
Oh, I have Victor.
What's
and
Victor?
The metallic penguin makes a squeaking sound, but he's not very eloquent.
Are these things that he's handed us edible? Like,
Mm-hmm.
well, all right then. Pop one in my mouth.
Yeah,
Take
as I said,
1d6 damage and die. Like, yeah.
they're not very tasty, but they're definitely they're food.
What about caravan though? Can't leave that behind. If we're going with this crazy machine god type monster thing.
It's not a monster. It's Johnny 7.
Yeah. We could meet the caravan further up the road, perhaps. Right?
Well,
Walking there. Why don't we get a ride?
Yeah.
we at least need to recover the wagon and the walker.
Yeah.
So you also remember that that Johnny 7, that is at least what Azure the salamander rat is slowly disintegrating. So it would be probably a race against time to, I don't know, or maybe some kind of programming or engineering to at least slow the process.
Johnny, is there any way we can help you keep it together for the rest of the trip or indefinitely? You seem like a good egg.
There are things missing, essential things. I'm always tired.
Do you need more power?
Maybe.
When do you remember when it started happening?
Oh, that was long ago.
Okay. Do you know what the parts are that are missing?
I'm not a doctor or engineer. The last time I ran a self diagnosis, there were so many errors. And while Johnny 7 speaks, there are once in a while there are glitches in the sound as well.
Well, I only see one source of spare parts around here. I look over at Saffron. So maybe, where would we even find such parts for this thing? It's a wee bit more complicated than my bike.
Maybe at that place, maybe at the place where we're going to go look for punch cards.
Aye, that makes sense, aye. You reckon you can hold it together till we get there, Johnny?
I will try. I've tried for the last thousands of years.
Right then, well, so where are we going on the map? We're going to
Fallen Umber, I think it's
Fallen Umber.
That's where we need to retrieve punch cards from.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the ruins.
We're gonna skip Grass Colossus then.
Well, here's a question. How fast does the walker travel?
The walker is definitely fast. So you would take the same. Well, it takes the same amount of days. So a week is a week always, but the slow wagon gets the slow tag, and so every time you make a trip of a week, we add the elements that slow you down. Sickness is one of these things. The slow tag, obviously, and if all the tags add up to 7, we prolong the journey by another week. But it's not that the walker is quicker per se.
Okay, so it's going to take us a week to travel to each destination, or however long it specifies on the map, regardless of what transportation we're using.
That's true.
No way to shortcut it. Okay.
By the way, I said something stupid last time. You asked me what the numbers between for example, the death-facing passage and the last Sarai means, and it is, if you look at the arrows, it's from the death-facing passage to the Grass Colossus. It's 1 week, but the other way is 2 weeks. So if you would travel from the Trail of Warm Streams to the death-facing passage, that's 2 weeks.
Okay, and then death-facing passage to Last Sarai is 4 weeks, whereas Last Sarai death-facing passage is 2. Okay.
Exactly.
Where are we? We're at the Trail of Vomit Streams still?
Yes.
So the quickest way looks like Grass Colossus, Long Ridge, south-facing passage, Fallen Umber, which would take us 3 weeks to get there. Everything else takes us, well, the same amount of time, basically.
I mean, yeah, it's like we could do Grass Colossus to south-facing passage, but that's 2 weeks. So,
yeah, actually, no, that would be. I think that's the quickest way. Yeah. What about?
Well, it's the same amount of time. It's, if we hit Long
But there
Ridge.
might be. We don't know what that Long Ridge. We might actually want to avoid it.
Mm-hmm. But we could always maybe the Grass Colossus. Like, this is a big machine, eh? Colossus used to be a big machine, didn't it?
Grass Colossus is a thing they put together and burn.
Oh, right.
It's a meeting of the nomads. We ran into a group of them earlier in the week.
Right. Must have been drunk for that. Sorry. Anyways, we could. But who knows? Maybe someone. If we hit there, if it's a meeting of nomads, maybe they've seen something that we can, or at least they could give us a heads up on what we might encounter along the way. Unless anyone's got anything up the back passage, I don't think we got anything that we can fix it with yet.
Do you guys think that we'll get jumped by nomads if we show up with a giant factory?
We do have parts for the walker.
Oh, yeah.
That might be. We might be able to repurpose those in some way. I mean, that'd probably come down to
purely for the mechanical pieces, but
I mean, it'd probably come down to Saffron and Hamish seeing if they could jerry rig something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure if that'd be wisdom or intelligence, but
we're passing right by the Grass Colossus no matter what, aren't we, really, unless we decide to go via the death-facing passage, which I'll be honest with you, I don't think is a great idea, and it will also take a lot longer than any other route. Unless it's one of those ironic names,
A place called Death-Facing Passage doesn't exactly seem like a good. I mean, do we really need to visit there?
No.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of like the whole thing between Greenland and Iceland. Like one's great and the other's crap, and the one that's crap is the one that sounds great. But I don't know. Maybe it's a paradise there. Maybe that's why it takes so long. But
are you talking about the place with punch cards?
No, we're talking about Death-Facing Passage. Fallen Umber is farther.
Okay.
So either way, we have to pass through the Grass Colossus. But should we try and see if we can put these machine parts to use
on the way?
We can take some of them to see if they're helpful to our new friend Johnny 7. I think it would be wise to not to have Johnny kind of avoid confrontation with the people at Grass Colossus.
Out of sight, out of mind type thing.
As much as possible.
Yeah.
So if we do want to take some of our stuff, if we need to pass by Grass Colossus anyway, and we want to take some of our stuff there, that's probably reasonable.
Yeah, in my experience, it's better to sell the things that you've stolen quick before someone steals them from you.
Otherwise, maybe we can bring some of the other stuff inside before we head out.
I'm curious. Is there anything Johnny 7 might be able to do with my little problem?
You want him to manufacture drugs for you?
Well, no, not drugs, but some kind of treatment or antidote or... I don't know if there's something on hand or if maybe the penguin could do something. I mean, it's a mechanical penguin. I've never seen a mechanical penguin before. I don't know what they do. Maybe they're doctors.
It's possible you could ask them. So Johnny says, if I had the code, I could produce an antidote for your problem.
The code? What code?
It's like the information in a certain form, in a form that I can read.
Like a book?
Is that just punch card?
Yeah, we called them punch cards, but sometimes it would be microfiche or magnetic tapes.
So tiny little fish, eh? Is that what they used to run on? Fascinating.
I mean, I thought the machines didn't work well with water. How could you?
The old ways are a mystery, aren't they? Wonderful technology they used to have.
And what use would the fish be if they were dead? And how small were they?
I heard of this thing called nanofish.
So Johnny 7 says that they were tiny.
Right, well, we have some machine parts actually, Johnny, that fit one of our workers. So we were wondering if maybe Saffron here might be able to, jam a few bits and pieces in.
Mm-hmm. So how do you?
How do we do that? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. What are you trying to do?
I think our goal is to, with what we have on hand and what one or two of us can jury rig together. Not necessarily fix anything with Johnny, but like extend the worst breaking parts so that they last longer, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's some combination of Azure, your Salamander, plus like if Saffron spends a few days doing careful miracles of various sorts, we might be able to piece something together.
Mm-hmm.
I could almost mechanically, I could almost see that as being the parts are like a reagent to Saffron doing a miracle.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you already have parts of the information from the biomechanical salamander who,
the initial diagnosis.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an oracle, right? And I can see bits
Mm-hmm.
of the future. Is it possible for me to reverse that and see the past?
Yes. Let's see. I would say that would be one of the cases I was just mentioning. So that for that you would have to roll.
All right, that's fair. What do I roll? What should I roll?
Well, first of all, you would have to activate the Oracle, because at the moment the salamander is active.
Right.
So let's
activate that.
Which is like in game mechanics, it's a day of meditation to attune to the other thing. So it's nothing that you can do right now. But if you decide to travel with Johnny 7, then you would have enough time to attune. Just I want to get an idea what you are trying to do. So you're trying to travel with Johnny 7 to the Grass Colossus, and while traveling, trying to fix him.
Yeah, I'm going to travel with Johnny. I'll ride in Johnny so I can meditate.
That's what I was considering too, for to being able to attune different miracles.
Hamish will head back to the caravan and the walker and stuff, and round all that up and like keep it going. We were discussing that maybe we'd have Johnny keep a wide berth of the grass club. Like park him around the corner or something, or like maybe he goes down the one road while we go down the other one. We'll meet up further on. Kind of thing.
So we're basically, if I understand this correctly, we're kind of splitting the party a little bit. Like having a couple people with Johnny 5 to work on Johnny 5, and everybody else staying with the caravan.
Yeah, I guess maybe there is a bit of open question of, do we want to only leave one person with Johnny, or do we want to do two? Do we prioritize working on Johnny enough to put both Saffron and Azure? I guess part of that is, how worried are we about Grass Colossus situation? Do you think 2 people will be fine?
Be fine, hi. No worries.
Well, so here's a quick question. What stat is going to be needed to fix Johnny 5?
I was just looking at that. We've only got one clever character from the looks of things.
Because if it's wisdom, then it doesn't.
I would say it's more.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's more like fictional positioning in the sense that who is even able to do it. Like, I don't think that Nida or Hamish would have the expertise to do it.
Oh God, no! Are you kidding me? I shoot things.
Exactly, and Hamish robs people.
Yeah, to be honest,
Hamish, and breaks things.
Yeah. Hamish is mostly thinking about, like, if this all breaks down, which parts will sell well,
Exactly.
And can he get any hold of any of these tiny fish that we've been talking about?
Yeah, I think between 1 or 2 of Saffron plus Azure, we have a chance of trying something that could work, or could at least like, maybe we don't actually fix anything, but we extend how long it takes Johnny to completely fall apart just enough.
I mean, that sounds good to me. Me and Nida will go and offload this stuff, see what we can scout out about the road ahead, and we'll meet back up with you down the trail. Yeah.
Would it be worth it to, since we don't have as many of us out there, would it be worth it to try to load some of our long-term stuff into Johnny, and you and Nida take just the walker to Grass Colossus with the valuables?
Sounds great. Aye.
If we can, we could try to see if we could load stuff into Johnny so that you don't have to haul an entire caravan.
I mean, is there a space big enough in Johnny that we can just park a caravan inside?
Johnny's pretty big.
Well, yes, I think 4 spots. So it could be 1 person and 3 sacks, or 2 people and 2 sacks.
But we can't pull the wagon in there, for example.
We couldn't put an entire vehicle inside.
No.
Okay.
Can
Then
we
just
just
the plan is
Get to the back of him.
Where was where were the Vidi crystals supposed to sell for? Was that at Grass Colossus or next?
Well, Grass Colossus or Death Facing Passage. At both destination, you get triple the price.
All right, so Hamish, I think that means we keep the stolen goods that we need to fence as well as the Vidi crystals. We sell it all here and see what we can come up with.
Aye, sounds good to me. I mean, there's no point in carrying around a bunch of valuables when we could be carrying around money.
Well, money's a lot easier to get stolen from you. Valuables, got to have people to carry them off.
I pat the broadsword. Stealing usually goes one way with me.
There's also the slight problem that you have run out of food. Just saying.
Well, we
Despite the food we just ate?
Well, okay. You if you stay in, or if you, I don't know, if you somehow manage to get more slug eggs from Johnny, then that could solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
we can also resupply at the Grass Colossus, I imagine.
So you'd be hungry for a week or a little slow going to have to hunt while traveling.
Yeah.
All right. So is the plan then that you travel more or less together, and then, at a certain stage you split and Johnny goes south and the rest of the party goes
to the Grass Colossus?
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
I mean, from GM to players, it could also be fun to, if the 4 of you would be at the festival and you keep up with Johnny and you try to repair them first, maybe. I don't know.
I'm perfectly happy with,
Yeah.
to step completely out of character and into everything else is right. 2 things we want to do are fix Johnny and however we can do, to delay his collapse, and go to the Grass Colossus. If fictionally we are allowed to do both of those things, then and keep all the party together, that would get my vote every time.
And that's my thing. I don't exactly want to split the party.
But we've got time before we get to Grass Colossus, right? So there's no reason why you can't be doing that stuff while we're on the way to Grass Colossus. And then when we get to Grass Colossus, we're just like, Johnny, we'll see you down the road that way,
Although almost like the longer part of the journey that's going to be fictionally the part that's going to be more the race, the fight to make Johnny not fall apart is going to come after Grass Colossus.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll be working it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we can start. We can start doing some stuff, and then like the conflict of keeping Johnny together and getting them to fall a number is going to come after.
Awesome.
I think.
Okay.
But this sounds like a plan.
And do we want to tell Johnny to start heading toward the south-facing passage so we can meet up there and then head straight to Fallen Number to avoid Long Ridge?
So I guess this ties into what we were discussing when Horst was off briefly, is do we know anything about the Long Ridge and should we just avoid it? Or maybe we'll learn something at the Grass Colossus about it.
My suggestion would be, you see that crossroads? That's where we're going to meet Johnny.
Fair.
And then we'll have picked up whatever we know from the Grass Colossus,
and we can decide.
And we can catch up with him, right? We already caught up with him once, so we're able to travel fast enough to catch up with him if he knows that, not to go on without us, kind of thing. So,
so the crossroads south of the river, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like other side of Grass Colossus.
So I think we have a short montage of Azurdi and Saffron, you know, being in the bowels of this crazy machine where, you know, like in the Alien films, there's always something dripping from above. There's tubes everywhere, and there's the box of scrap parts that gets its use. And then at some stage, you part ways. Johnny 7, he looks almost pitiful, you know, moving on their pipes and threads and tentacles. And you also see the wild jungle of mutating plant life that they leave behind. That's growing like wildly and withering shortly thereafter. And with an empty stomach, well, not a totally empty stomach, a stomach filled with slug eggs. You travel with you part ways with Johnny 7. You travel in the walker and the wagon, and you can see before you, after a couple of days, like dark clouds in the sky, and from afar you can see lightning strike, but it's too far away to hear the thunder. And let's see, what does the box text say? It's also getting considerably warmer. We're now in Orange Month, which is the 6 months of the year. And you're crossing a last purple ridge, and before you is a white veil. And when you're on the ridge itself, it's as if you're looking into a hair dryer. It's like this hot wind coming from the hot. It's not as dry as a hair dryer, but definitely as hot. It's a hot, moist wind, and the darkening clouds in the background. And there are these two rivers that meet. And at that juncture, there are ancient ruins of old fortification, like ramparts, made from. Well, you can't see it from afar, but they must be really, really old. And then on one of two hillocks, there is like a gigantic statue that is being woven at the moment, made from grasses and vines and thorn bushes, and people, like tiny figures standing around it, you know, casting their spells or however they do it to make it grow. In the Vale, there are hundreds of tents, mostly from hides and adorned with antlers and feathers and skulls. But some of them are obviously made from plastic sheets or other material or turtle shells. And despite the incredible heat, like this oppressive heat, there are also campfires. There's a smell of the smoke and the grass. And let's see. So you can see a lot of different nomad clans. We have already seen two different clans, the Ash White and the Copper Wire. But they're, you know, you can see from their robes and the way they dress that they're different tribes. But you can also see a couple of Rainbow Landers, And my question to Nida is, what tells you that they are enslaved? Most of them, not all of them, but many of them are enslaved.
Face tattoos. There's a band that goes down the face, over the eye, and usually the color of the tattoo indicates their status, whether they are basically a privileged servant and are to be treated with the respect due to a visiting dignitary, or whether there's somebody that you can kick in the teeth and nobody's really going to care. And all of the points in between.
And let's see. Oh, before we, like you're still on the ridge, obviously, but I forget the misfortune roll. We have to make the misfortune roll. Every session, there's a different character. I think the last time it was Azure. So let's go with Hamish. Can you make a roll and add your charisma modifier if you have one? So your charisma is 10, which is, I think, 0.
Mm-hmm. Is that just a D20?
It's a D20. You want to roll high.
16.
16 is not too bad. Let's see.
Probably going to be like, yeah, great. I got in the top quarter of results, top 75% of.
Yeah. So taking it slow and steady, filtering the river water and resting in the noonday heat, you cross the Vale with no problems. All right, so what do you want to do? You're not approached by anyone. You're more or less ignored. Like people will cast, side eyes to you, but they're not openly hostile or anything.
Right, Wade, you said something about these crystals. Not fetching a fair price here. Any ideas where we might start on that?
Do we see a marketplace or like just sort of even an ad hoc marketplace?
Well, there are definitely like different services, and there are definitely also people selling stuff. So you can see. Why don't you roll, Hamish, because you were asking the question? Why don't you roll a D8?
D8. Okay. The D20 works.
Okay.
D8 works finally. There we go. D2.
You got a 2?
Yeah. It wouldn't. It was just not the D8 was just not having anything until I rolled a D20 in between, basically.
Okay. So for example, you find a well, he looks like a shaman. And there's like a blanket with talisman and potions. You do have to remember that the VD crystals are illegal among they're taboo among the nomads. That's why you fetch such a high price, because it's like selling drugs or something.
Well, I wouldn't be a wise man if he didn't do a bit of the old, esoteric interests. So, excuse me, pal. You look like a man who sees further than most. A man with a crystal clear vision, one might say.
Yes, that is true.
Now, would you be interested in maybe purchasing something along those lines?
Oh, I see. Of course. Are you interested in any of my wares, though?
I mean, We need some food. I don't know if you do that.
And if you have anything that clears up addictions,
he's on the old shaky hands. You know what he is. Oh no, terrible business, terrible.
Yeah, he looks you in the eye, Nida, and you see like a malicious grin, and he points to another tent, and outside of the tent there are people like floating in the air, like not really high, like 5 centimeters above the ground, in some kind of lotus position. And he says, "There's the healing meditation. You can go there."
Thank you. Hamish, I trust you got this.
Hi, Nida. You go and think happy thoughts and all that.
Cool. So let's see. You're haggling with someone, and there's obviously rules for that as well. Let's see. So selling and buying, you have to invest a day to find the merchant and negotiate the price. You can do that, which is a little bit dangerous because you could get a result like a 1 or something where you get actually caught with your stolen goods or your illegal viddies. Or you spend a week and D6 times 100 cash if you have that much. Probably not. And you gain advantage on the roll.
I have 15 coins.
Hang on a second. Let me see what I got.
But we have so many things to sell, you know?
Yeah, I know.
I have 91 coins.
Well,
so like out of character.
Yes.
I would like to speed through the process of, because like finding whatever the mechanics are, I'd like to just jump right into it. Like
all right.
Like
I would
just in terms of, because we have so many different types of things to sell. Like I don't want to do it individually. You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah.
I get it. It would be boring. So given that you don't have 600 cash, or we can say, you I don't know, what do you have?
We have.
I thought you said 100.
Yeah, it's D6 times 100.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we've got the stolen stuff, and then we also have the crystals. And if there's a decent price on it, the saffron.
So I would say
cookware and saffron crystals to sell.
Yeah, we can speed up the process, but you would have to do the roll. So do you want to risk it all on one roll? So you put everything that you want to sell and you just roll once and we take the result? Or do you want to do it in, first you sell the VD crystals and then you sell the, I don't know, the cutlery?
The VD crystals are the hot goods effectively here, aren't they? Like, because they're the ones that are taboo. Whereas the rest of the stuff, I can't imagine they really give a damn about the porcelain princes. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. But if you roll a 1, it doesn't really matter. If you roll a 1, it gets confiscated and something went wrong. If you look at the tab, there's the tab trade goods.
Yeah.
And there's selling and buying. That's what I was looking. And there's and the goods can get confiscated either way.
Yeah. Cool. I would say we do 2 rolls, because it feels as though those are 2 different things to sell, right?
Yeah. So the illicit goods and the goods that nobody's really going to care about.
Yeah, even if like mechanically that is the same table, like fictionally it would offers 2 different explanations, right? Kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right.
None of us have charisma bonuses from the looks of things.
That is true.
Jesus Christ.
I have.
You're the most charismatic.
I have advantage if I can swing it. depending on what I guess none of this that we're selling necessarily falls into industrialist.
But there are slaves here, right? Cook slaves, perhaps, who may need to purchase some cooking equipment on behalf of their masters and some fancy silverware. So maybe as my position of the shattered chain, I can commiserate with them and be like, "Oh, it's a raw deal, man," but this will keep the masters happy, and a happy master means one that's not bearing the whip. The one day though, the chain will shatter, like that's my pitch for that to be granted, to min-max this situation effectively.
Yeah, well, min-maxing is what we are after. I think that it makes more sense for Saffron as an industrialist
because they are expensive goods.
Yeah, I mean the type of goods as well. I mean, you don't sell the vidis to the slaves.
Oh, I meant for the silverware,
the cookware and stuff.
Oh, the
espresso machine and all the other
in
stuff.
any case, they won't have any money to buy it off of you. I mean,
I
they're property themselves.
Yeah, but the masters don't go buy the stuff, do they? They give their servants some money.
They buy it for
bring it back. You're going to get your hands cut off.
So let's do the Vidi crystals with Saffron.
Okay.
Can you roll a d20 with advantage?
Okay, so I'm -1 on
and then
charisma, but advantage. Then I'll roll 2 and take the better.
And the better in this case is the higher.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Swerves.
And you want to get a 6 at least.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not working.
We need to refresh.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it on my own.
Or just like
setup.
Real dice, that also works.
Yeah, if during the break I may go grab my dice. They're just in the other room. So that is a 9 after advantage.
All right, and a 9 means it is, so here it says the price factor is 1, which in our case is the price that you have researched beforehand, which is triple the price. And so you get a whopping, let's see,
6 sacks at 1,500.
6 sacks at 1,500. That's crazy.
It's 9,000 coins.
Wow.
Nice work.
I'm feeling very industrial right now.
Industrialist, you said. Oh, not bad. You should maybe think about being a merchant with that kind of thing. Salesman. Nice.
And so
I've got to message Dennis about this.
Yeah, he will be delighted. Or maybe very disappointed. Because he never sold anything for profit.
Everything went bad. Every time.
And so then Hamish is trying to sell the cutlery to the slaves.
I mean, like to the masters of the slaves via the, you know what I mean? But like taking
I know what you mean.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
I know what you mean. And you're doing the whole spiel with, your experience for being, I don't know, you are a defender of slave rights or something. Or what is your...
in the sort of like, I know how bad it is to, like how the thing, but like a happy master is a kind master, like, and who can't be happy when you cook him out of this stuff, It'll turn slug eggs into deliciousness.
All right, I grant you the advantage.
Okay.
It's 2d20.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get my dice in the break as well, because 16.
A 16 is
nice.
They want it. You get 50 XP.
That's personally, I get 50 XP. Nice.
Yeah, that's personally for you, out of nowhere. And you get 1.5 times the price that I told you. So the cutlery was, how much was it?
I can. So the cookware,
500 for cutlery and 2,000 for cookware.
Yeah.
2,500 total would have been.
Yes.
So that means the cutlery is now worth 750, and the cookware is worth 3,000. Is that correct?
I can just do
half again
calculator if you like.
Yeah.
1,000 times 1.2 was it?
Yeah, 1.5.
1.5. And I rolled really well. Nice. Oh no, 1.5 is 17 to 19. I got a 16, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it would be 1.2, not 1.5.
Oh, is it?
Wait, what?
1.5 is 17 to 19.
No, but you got 16, and it's 13 to 15, and then 17.
Selling and buying table is different from the.
Oh, I was on the wrong table. I was on the wrong table. You also
where did 16 fall in that?
Yeah.
Nowhere at all. 16 means it disappears into the thin air and reality breaks down. Christ.
Okay, that's a good question. What happens with 16?
I think it's a mistake.
It's just a transcription error.
Yeah.
On the table, probably.
Probably.
Which one do you think it should be, Horst? 1.2 or 1.5?
Go with 1.5, but you don't get the 50 XP, unfortunately. I looked at the wrong table. I'm sorry.
We sold it for a lot, and then we're going to divide that XP anyway.
3,750.
Yes. All right. Anything else you want to sell? The saffron?
The saffron and the synthahol, if we can.
So synth alcohol is also taboo. I mean, doesn't have to, phase you or anything. Just saying. So that is, it's like selling, marijuana to the Amish or something. You will find a buyer eventually.
It only takes up 2 slots. We can take it with us.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could find something we could cook with this saffron. Spice up our meals on the road. Like, why not?
Saffron taboo, or is it just the synthahol that's taboo?
The synthahol is taboo.
Okay. Well, do you want to try to sell the saffron as well?
Why not?
Or do you want to hold on to that?
I mean, I feel like we got enough money. We could maybe hold on to it until we find somewhere that really wants some saffron. Okay. Hey, mate, do you guys cook with saffron or not?
We do, of course.
Okay. But do you really like it, or are you just sort of indifferent?
I'm not sure. Make a roll.
How do you? What do you do?
You find a buyer.
Cool. And is he rolling with advantage because he's talking to the slaves in Shattered Chain?
Oh yeah, that's true. And cooking with saffron.
I got 6.
And 6.
Unconvincing. So price factor of 1. So that would be 1,000 for the saffron, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what we bought it at.
Should we leave it? Then we'll leave it then. Yeah. It's not really occupied. We've got plenty of space, really, haven't we? I mean, hell, we got a whole factory. I'm conscious that I'm, taking up a lot of this stuff here, but I want to buy food and then go. Is that right? Or we need to ask about intelligence on the route, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Can we take I don't know, 8 minutes break?
Yep.
All right. See you in a bit.
See you in a few. I'm back whenever everybody else is.
Sorry, Abe, you were saying something?
Nope, I'm just saying I'm back because I don't have my camera on.
Mhm.
I find that people don't know that I'm back, and I'm like, oh, sorry.
As the kids say, hard same.
So what do we want to do with the with Johnny? I mean, I guess we'll go back there and try to fix him up. Hey, maybe we can find some parts. Maybe we can find some salvage. We got a shit ton of money.
I think looking for stuff while we're at Grass Colossus is a good idea. Whether there's anything worth buying,
Right.
we'll see. But
that's another story.
Yeah, what's the general? So, do you want to stay a week until the actual festival of the Grass Circle starts? Do you want to just sell as soon as possible? Like that will take a day and a night, and then you leave.
The only thing I want to do is get that addiction taken care of.
Yeah, that would
you have
be
that too.
that would be a week. That would be your activity in the week.
Okay.
But you could also like the original plan was Hamish and Ida, visit the festival, and the others fix Johnny 7. That could be a thing, or you all stay for a week. What are the plans?
We kind of had the slightly ominous remarks from the nomads about the festival earlier. People remember they joked about us being inside the Colossus when they light it on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So I could be split on whether we bother staying for the festival or not.
Yeah, I don't care to stay for the festival.
I'm
also, Chris, I sorted out the money that you and I loaned the caravan on the
character. Cool, thank you.
So,
thanks.
I'd like to get cracking on Johnny. I think this is going to be an interesting, out of the ordinary experience. How often do you guys ruined old tech tower that's still semi-functional?
So, but I think it could be worth us taking like a day to hunt for tools or parts.
Yep, definitely.
Anything related, like so. Horst, you did mention that as we came in, this place itself is kind of a ruin too, and the nomads travel between places. It's entirely plausible that they have some ancient parts or something. I don't think we want to spend a ton of time doing it because we do want to go back and try to kill some time actually working inside of Johnny. Does that sound good, Abe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So the mechanics step in a little bit. So every time you do something, whether it's foraging, studying, healing, looking for parts, and so forth, that takes always a week. So what we could say is if Azur D and Saffron want to go to Johnny 7, then Hamish could look for the parts while Nida is, kicking the addiction.
I'm good with whatever. My thing is we get food because we need food, right? So we need food as a priority.
Yeah.
Intel about what might, to help decide which route we're going to take. And I mean, if there's parts that can help, then sure. Because I mean, as far as staying here, it feels as though we've established that Johnny has like a clock, right? That's ticking down. So
yes.
However quickly we can do all of these three things is Hamish's goal, kind of thing.
Okay, so Azure and Saffron are going to work on Johnny. I'm going to rehab, and Hamish is going to is going to supply us with food and try to find parts and stuff. Is that the plan?
Hi, I'm going to do all work. Yeah, you got it right.
Is mechanically Hamish doing all that shopping and rumor gathering fine?
That is fine.
Okay. So as long as one person is in town free to do that kind of stuff, then we're solid. Okay.
You go poke around with your hobby. and he can go get her head sorted out while she goes off on a meditation retreat, and I'll go and do the work. Yeah, no worries, no bother.
Okay, so the next day, Saffron and Azur-D are leaving, and you're leaving with the wagon or the walker.
Which would the Nida and Hamish rather not have to deal with this week?
It'd make it easier to catch up with you guys if we had the walker.
Fair.
Hamish also.
It is more conspicuous, though.
Can they walk containing of food? Basically, is my only question.
That's a good question.
Because
I think the walker.
We're restocking the wagon, right? Aren't we? Effectively in this situation. So
yes,
it's perhaps more a case of we need the wagon because we need to restock the wagon.
That's true.
So yeah,
I mean,
I
you do have
question.
to bike.
Sorry.
Oh, go on.
Before we take off, this is a ruin, right?
Well, there's this old rampart where at the juncture of the two rivers, and then the rest of the vale is just like a tent city.
So I couldn't look for vial parts here.
Again, mechanically you could, but you would have to invest a week.
Oh, all right. That's fine. Well, let's get Johnny going.
Okay. I mean, if you felt that Azure's priority would be to hunt here, Saffron could go off on their own potentially. But if you don't think that's particularly, if you don't think it'll be useful or interesting, then
that's my main drive.
Yeah,
to hunt vial parts because I need to get to Black City to do stuff with vial parts. So would me being not contributing to fixing Johnny make a big difference?
I don't think yet. I think the worst case outcome I could see happening is Saffron goes back to Johnny and just spends a week talking to Johnny, and it's essentially a study.
True.
And then we resolve some fixing on the road later once we have whatever parts Hamish finds.
Well, because I was thinking about doing a reverse oracle to see if I could drum up any information on how to, on where punch cards used to be and what is there, if there's like a repair manual that, that sort of thing, so, and that might affect the
that would definitely give you an advantage on the fixing stuff.
Okay.
Because like this is well traveled. The next place we go with old tech, I'll look for it there.
Okay. Sounds good. Yes. Sounds good, Hamish.
All right.
Okay. Cool. So we see is that Saffron is leaving with a porcelain walker, and Azur-D is staying with the rest. Is that what I get?
No. I'm gonna go with Saffron.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I'm gonna do my reverse oracle. See if I can pull that off.
Nice.
Yeah. The call was this place isn't interesting or it's too well traveled to still have vial parts.
Yeah, that is true.
Fictionally, I'd like to make sure that Saffron has most of the caravan money, just in case. So we're holding back. I think, Hamish, how much do we need? Like 100, 200 coins? I mean, the food sacks are 10 per.
It depends on the parts that we're trying to find.
Maybe we keep. I'd say like we split it 50-50. To be honest, because there's 3 of us and there's 1 of him, so
2 and 2. But
2 and 2. Yeah. So like, let's not put our eggs in one basket. Basically,
I think Saffron would, if we were like doing this, like divvying stuff up, Saffron would be like, depending on the parts you can find, they might be a little expensive.
Yeah. So If we split it midway, then we're protected from them getting attacked by bandits on the way back, or was whatever,
or vice versa.
Yeah, and we have enough money to buy whatever, right?
So here's a question. We split the gold from the heist, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Have we done that yet?
What do you mean?
From the heist at the Porcelain Citadel, the stolen goods, that's not caravan money.
Oh, okay. If you say so, yeah. Then that would be 3,750 divided between. I mean, I'm willing to cut Azure in on it out as a player, but I'm also as a character perfectly happy to be like. I mean, when you do some work, maybe you get it, but this is how we've all this
I'll
fairness.
pass.
Yeah, cool.
You guys can split it between the three of you. It's fine. I didn't have a hand in the dirty work. No problem.
Was Fraser with us at that point?
No, it was just the three of us.
That was the week off. Yeah.
Okay.
1,250 gold each.
Okay.
And then 9,000 gold for the caravan.
Right. Damn, I'm gonna have to actually fire up a calculator here real quick.
For what?
Out of my money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Feel like Mr. Krabs over here. I like money.
Money. SpongeBob, where's me money? Oh man, I would have loved to have played that Passion de SpongeBob.
Yeah, it was a thing. It actually happened.
Yep. But yeah, I think dividing the caravan money to minimize
4,500 if it's 9,000 gold total.
hedge some risk.
Yeah,
sounds good. Yeah, and Azure and Saffron can take the walker back to Johnny.
Okay, but we stay with Hamish and Nida. Nida will be during the day. You will partake in the healing meditation, which is talisman that are used. There's breathing routines, and it's a lot of sitting in a very steamy, smoky tent with a shaman rolling the drums very monotonously, and throat singing. And during your meditation, you do you do fall asleep, or your mind wander once in a while, and you have a recurring vision of very, very quickly flashing before your eye, and it's a person that is burning on fire and screaming, and you can see it is what's her name? It is the slave that you left, or not the slave, the yellow lander you left behind, Lila. And she screams, you betray them as well, and you don't know. I don't know. Do you know what that might mean?
Yeah, I saw it coming and I left. And most of the people stayed because they were certain that the catastrophe that was coming was just a myth. And they regarded anybody that left as traitors, as betrayers, as people who sold them out. They wanted everyone to burn together.
But there's a certain urgency in what she's screaming, and at the evenings, after the whole meditation, when you sit around the campfire, maybe with Hamish or with other travelers, you sometimes see Yellowlander slaves carrying stuff for their masters. And once in a while, like when you blink, you see them being on fire.
Well, part of rehab is getting the drugs out of your system, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to chalk this up to hallucinations.
Of course. And Hamish, you're wandering through the tent city. You get your supplies for food for the normal raid. But we would like to see how successful you are with information gathering. So if you would roll another D8 for me, please.
Cool. D8. Let me see if the dice roller works this time. Nope, it's not. So let me get my my lovely dice bag out.
Mm-hmm.
Get the D8 out.
Okay. Do you know Dirk the Dice?
Dirk the dice.
It's
No,
another podcast, and it always starts with, "Have you seen me dice bag?"
Have you seen me dice bag, pal? I like that. Yeah. My dice bag, by the way, is made out of denim.
Oh,
nice.
wow. Nice.
Yeah, because I had a character called Barry Blue Jeans. 7. I got 7. Hopefully that's good.
Interesting. Oh, wow. What a nice coincidence. So you do find something weird. You pass another of this makeshift, I don't know, flea market, however you want to call it. It's just a blanket with stuff. But these things are like wicker fetishes, if that is the plural of fetish. And they do have like wired, they have wires and they have cogs and machinery within them. And when you inquire about, spare parts for machines, Joao, which is funnily enough, not a nomad, but a Greenlander half elf. She says that, of course, these parts can be used. Are you crazy? They can do everything.
It can do everything.
I
That's a
mean,
bold claim.
Whatever you want to repair, I mean.
Right. Okay. Well, then sounds like exactly what I'm looking for. Now, how much we talking for him?
Well, depends on what you need. And she places a couple of they almost look human-like, and they have different sizes. And you could swear that in the corner of your eye you can also see them move. But if you look at them straight, then they.
Hamish is starting to realise that maybe Saffron should have been buying the parts because he's like, I mean, she tells me it was all good. Who knows, right? But
And so she says, for big repairs, you might want to buy this little bugger, and that would cost you 250.
250. Now, like, I'm actually more than willing to pay that, but Hamish obviously dickers around with the price, and we end up at 250. Like,
exactly.
It wouldn't be Hamish if he was just saying, "Yeah, sure, here you go." Like, yeah.
She also says that you could buy a servant that follows you, a fetish that is animated.
How much would that cost me?
Well, a watchful servant would cost you 300. And
he'd keep he's a watchful one, so he'd keep an eye out for things as well as carry me stuff then. Yeah, go on then, I'll buy that. And I'll buy that. Should I buy that for my, would that be a caravan-y type thing, or would that be like a personal purchase?
I mean, I think it depends on what your intention is.
I mean,
if you're going to leave it with the caravan, then it's a caravan-y thing. If
yeah,
you
I mean,
take it with you when you leave the caravan, then it's a you thing.
Oh, I mean, like, I wouldn't tell you whether I'm going to take it with me when I leave the caravan. Like, more a kind of thing that's like, would it be of use to the caravan? I think I can think it would be of use to the caravan, right? I'm just not sure about like.
Does it take food?
No, it carries one. Can carry one sack, and it could work as a guard. Watching stuff, not actually fighting.
Cool. Well, I would have been happy to buy it out of my own pocket, but I'm certainly happy to buy it out of the caravan's money as well. And it seems like it would definitely be a useful thing for the caravan to have, right? Like an extra amount of stuff that we can loot from the next place. So yeah, I will buy that as well. And if you'd like to cut to somebody else, I'd do the intelligence gathering for like which road to take.
So we switch over to Saffron and Azure, who have caught up with Johnny 7. The walker will follow whatever last you told you programmed the walker, so to speak. It can just follow Johnny 7. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, so if it's uneventful to get back to Johnny 7, then yeah, I think have it just kind of follow alongside, and we would head back in up to the control room again.
Yep.
And then both of us, I think, were wanting to reattune our slots.
Yes.
Would be kind of like we will like be like, hey, Johnny 7, long time no see, hope you're doing okay. And then we're like, hey, let's just chat, and we're gonna be doing our thing off in the corner while we plan our next steps, I guess.
You can see that the situation has deteriorated a little bit between your last you've seen Johnny 7. So I make a clock.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully we can stave it off for a bit, and then hopefully with the parts that Hamish found, we can pull something off. We'll see.
Yes. And I'm just ruling that per X I wrote down it's one slowness factor as well.
Okay. That sounds good. Seems like a reasonable.
Cool. And so Azure, what are you planning to do?
Well, first off, I want to ask Johnny before I go in. Have I switched gears already on my? On my
yeah.
So first, I'm going to ask Johnny about the vial brain. Is it, can you tell me more about these?
Well, I don't know the exact nature of the brain you're talking about, but the vial, they were feared, but they're also revered.
Do you know if there are more parts like this on the in your cargo holds or anywhere on your person?
Oh no, I wouldn't know.
Okay. All right. So I am gonna say thanks, Johnny. I need to focus on something for a bit, and we'll be right back and see if we can help you. And then I'm gonna go over in the corner and go in my meditative jam, and then try to do my reverse oracle.
You can hear Johnny sigh, a long sigh, when you say that when you say goodbye.
I'll be right back, Johnny.
I'll keep Johnny company while Azure does this, I think, because my next steps will be, I think, dependent on what Azure learns about the past. So we can be buds and hang out for a day while Azure is meditating.
Yeah, I think so. You get the feeling that Johnny opens up to you more than to the others, and it's mostly that you come from the same age, so to speak. You have the same origin. You're also mechanical. And I don't know, how do you do something to lighten his spirit, to light up his spirit?
I mean, I have so little like stuff. Saffron is so, I'm just like thinking about Saffron and Saffron's personality and what Saffron bothers to have on hand is like, Saffron is like very like monastic almost in their belongings of like, we can swap stories. I think like we can swap stories all day.
Oh, Johnny 7 loves stories.
So that's probably like the only thing going. Unless like the only other like maybe like interesting thing to Johnny would be the fact that I have a set of face paints. So if like he saw me, if they saw me unpacking my stuff, like settling in, that might be noteworthy to Johnny of like, wait, what? You're a robot.
Why?
Yeah.
Why do you paint your face?
Yeah. So I imagine we probably spend time swapping stories, or I am more than happy to let Johnny ramble at me also.
Yeah, he's not much of a talker, so I think that there would be a very awkward silence when you let them do the talking, and a lot of sighing and drifting off half sentence. Azure, how does the meditation look like? Like the oracle, is it like a religious thing? Obviously, but does it? What do you actually do? Is it just closing the eyes?
Yeah, it's closing the eyes. The forward oracle, I think in the last game I said it takes about 5 minutes to tune in, and then I get a vision or not. I don't know if that's the case with this. I've never tried it before. I guess we'll assume that it's going to take longer because I've got to attune in a totally different way. Yeah, so basically I just, sit down, Indian style, and get into a meditative place. Perhaps I light some incense to get the mood going on. And then I just kind of check out and see what happens.
I have a question about the secret blue of Secret Azure cult. What are the I mean, obviously it's an apocalyptic cult and you want to destroy the world, but is there a reason for that? What's the like the religious doctrine? So that I can color the vision.
The religious doctrine is that ancient world that we're all kind of scrounging around in now was, what we would consider heaven. The vials, were the devils, and then I forget what the other guys were called, and they were like the angels, so to speak. And so we worship the angel side, and because this world is so broken and imperfect, and in comparison to what the former glory was, we just want to bring it all to an end.
Yeah, the others are the links, I think. So they are links, and they are the vial.
The vial, right? Yeah, so we worship the lynx.
And there's still like traces of the lynx in, their quarterlings, for example, that are apparently descendants of this mythical race.
They're girls.
I think because it's not really described in your attunement, you do have to roll because it's not exactly
Right,
what
yeah.
you normally do.
Reverse.
Exactly. So let's say it's probably, is it wisdom? Or is
Oh
it,
shit, my wisdom sucks.
it could be charisma as well.
My wisdom, it's got to be below my wisdom. Sorry,
Yeah.
I lost. Oh.
Yeah, I dropped a frame or whatever it's called. I would say you can also roll charisma. That's.
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
And let's see. Where's your?
I put my Azure magic in charisma.
Oh, cool. Then you actually do roll with advantage.
All right, and then it's 11 or under.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use my homemade dice here. Double 12s. That sucks.
No. So close. So I think so. You close your eyes. You get in the meditative mindset, and you hear in your ears, like or more in your brain, probably, like a cackling, like an evil laughter. And you see before you are, like you try to pierce through the fog of history, so to speak. And every time you do, you see that leaden sarcophagus before you, like trying to impose itself between you and whatever is behind the fog.
Do I have like lucid dreaming agency, or am I just observing?
You have a little bit of agency, of course. I mean, you can't pierce the fog because the vision just failed, but you can react to whatever's happening.
Is there a way for me to get up and open the sarcophagus?
Yes, you have. Oh, in your vision?
Yes.
Yes, you can do that. You approach the sarcophagus and you open it, and inside is the brain jar.
Oh, it's just the brain jar that I have?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's blocking me. Shit. All right. Well, okay. Well, I guess I'll, is there anything else to be noted?
Well, you do see behind the like in the fog, you would actually see like a machine that is punching holes into these cards, but you cannot see their location or function or whatever.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the part about the cards?
Yeah, you do see. So if your vision would have succeeded, you would have seen probably the location of these punch card making machine. But so you do see behind the fog that there's something punching holes into cards.
Oh, okay. But I can't make it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
And I'll come out of my trance and just shake my head, tell Saffron, sorry, there's nothing I can do. I couldn't pull it off. Maybe next time. Would I have any knowledge of like old songs or anything like that from that era? Like, with the connection to the Azure cult, or no?
I would assume that I mean you must have you know probably songs. The question is, do you know like old songs that Johnny 7 would remember?
Yeah, that's basically like if it's a song that, like, I think, like when you sing to plants and stuff like that, it helps them out. You know what I mean? Like they do well, as opposed to just like watering them and leaving them alone. I was thinking maybe that kind of approach, so.
Make a intelligence check.
All right. I rolled a 5. Got it.
So you do remember
Yep.
like a religious song that. So I do assume that your cult is somehow related to the blue god. I would assume. Is that true?
I don't know about what's the blue god.
Well, I can read you out what I know about the blue god, and you can obviously make some adjustments. Let's see.
Yeah, sure. That'd be great. Thanks. I don't have the rule book right now.
Apparently, they started shipping, so I do hope that maybe in a month or so, because they first ship the American.
I think Voidwalker editions are going out first, and then they're going to be shipping out the remainder of the hard packs.
Yeah, it's true. So the super expensive Voidwalker edition goes first. So let's see. Blue God. Why did I see that? Otherwise, we have to make it up.
Is the blue god related to the lynx?
So I found it. The blue land of the dead god, flooded, festering swamp inhabited by degenerates and haunted by the bleeding, rotten ghosts of the blasted field. Cults regularly try to reawaken the dead god, but continually fail. In the blue lands, fermented dairy products and north walls should be avoided, is all I can find. So
I will say that yes, with the Secret Azure cult needs to end the world to reawaken the dead god.
And so exactly. So I would assume that because you also said that the old times are worshipped as some kind of paradise, that you do remember a song that that probably comes from that time. Whether or not it has any healing properties, I doubt it. Especially if it's the dead god and the festering swamps where he lives.
Well, Johnny wouldn't even know about that, right? The dead god. I mean, I'm trying to figure out if I know a song from those times that he would recognize. You know what I mean? If not, that's fine.
No. I do think that you remember a god that a song that is probably unrelated to your religion itself, but it is taught because it deals with the old times.
All right. Cool.
Could be like a children's song or something.
Right. All right. Well, while Saffron works, I'll just start singing it regardless.
And you hear over the speakers that Johnny 7 is humming along in a slightly glitchy voice. Okay, so nice. Saffron, it's down to you. Do you wait for the parts, or do you like make first a roll to maybe slow the process?
I think this week my focus is more on trying to keep Johnny 7's spirits up, like keeping them mentally together.
Yeah.
Which I think aligns with what Azure's doing, singing the song, telling old tales, recounting things, more than trying to do actual repairs. If there's anything like obvious to do, Saffron would probably try that, but I think Saffron would wait until we get more of the parts, and then potentially some combination of performing a miracle, using the parts to guide the repairs is probably the approach that Saffron would use. But I think holding off on burning miracle juice as an HP until then is probably best.
So you get the impression that Johnny 7 would is almost clinically depressed in the sense that they want to die, but they can't because it's hard coded into their system that some kind of laws of robotic or something.
Yeah.
And that there's this nostalgic feeling of being able to produce this pristine, perfect things, and the shame of only producing rubbish. But definitely talking to Johnny, keeps them, rolling, so to speak.
Okay.
All right. Back to the Grass Colossus. After the week, so the meditation, the healing meditation, does cost something, but it's inexpensive given that you're loaded. It is 20 cash.
Okay. I'm curious. Are there any weapons vendors around?
Let's see. Why don't you make a D8 roll?
All right. Let's see. You be kind to me here. Right. Roll dice with friends is not being kind to me. So D8, huh? That is a 5.
A 5. So while you are strolling between the tents, you're approached by a Yellowlander, and she is let's see, what does it say? She's actually sweeping the path between two tents. Don't know how much sense it makes, but and when you look at her, she quickly looks away and continues sweeping.
Well, custom of us out here is that we don't really engage with each other unless it's a dire emergency. So there doesn't seem to be an emergency.
But other than that, you don't find an arms merchant, unfortunately.
And
then, gone.
I'm going to ask her if she knows anywhere that I can buy weapons.
While she talks to you, she constantly looks to the ground and she says, well, sometimes there are fights breaking out, so yes, they sell weapons, not to us, of course, but, and she points to like a circle of tents further down the street, the road.
Are you okay?
Of course. They treat me well. She's lying.
Where are your owners?
She points to another tent.
I sigh and go to that tent.
Mm-hmm. So let's switch a little bit to Hamish, because Hamish is also trying to inquire about the road, I think.
Yeah, to see mainly whether or not we, like, the main thing is, do we skip Long Ridge? Or is that actually, maybe that's actually the safer route, maybe the other route is like lined with death scorpions or whatever, right? And some idea of what awaits us at the south-facing passage, because both roads lead through there. But whatever I can get hold of, and I was hoping that if this is another, would this be another charisma check, or would it be like because I talk to people?
Yeah, I think you had your encounter check already, so it's a charisma check.
Cool. I don't think I can use a shat chain particularly for this one, to be honest. Like the slaves wouldn't know particularly well. I was like originally looking at my highwayman, and I'm like, nah, that doesn't really work. That'd be an intelligence one, wouldn't it? So yeah, that maybe would be more useful in like where would be a good spot to ambush someone or that kind of thing. Yeah, working out a route when we're on the road.
Yeah, and the slaves know more about everything that lies to the east.
Rather than to the south. So got a 19 though. I got a 19 on that.
Nice. So let's see. First, the south-facing passage. So you know that it is a pretty rough country. It's elevated as well, and it is torn by arroyos and canyons and apparently prehistoric behemoths carved at these. So it's difficult terrain, you would say, but not necessarily dangerous.
Okay, but we have to go through there anyways, so like we're okay with that. The south-facing passage.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'll be back in a second.
No worries. I mean, so it sounds like it's going to be tough going through the south-facing passage, but that's
good to know what to expect, at least.
Yeah. It'd be a major detour to avoid it anyways. We'd have to go to the death-facing passage. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm assuming that since you and I were in town, we'd worked out some sort of signal if one of us needed help.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that entirely. Yeah, I mean, Hamish is used to people having to keep watches back when he's in populated areas. You never know who might recognize him from when he's robbed them last.
Just checking on that. Just in case. I mean, yeah. I don't go looking for trouble, but trouble does seem to come looking for me from time to time.
That's an awful way to call. You calling me trouble? That's awful, Nader. I thought we were friends.
No. I mean, you're a perfectly delightful sort of trouble. It's the other less pleasant forms of trouble that seem to come looking for me.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be peaceful. Anyways, you were supposed to float 2 inches off the ground and kick that nasty habit you got.
Yeah, well, I kicked it, and now I'm back to kicking ass.
Typical. Well, hopefully it'll be a bit less explosive than last time. Or maybe, hopefully, it will be. It was certainly profitable.
Last time I remember fewer explosions and more splattering, but we did have to blow a hole in the wall, didn't we?
You helped blow up the Porcelain Prince's bone pit or whatever it was.
Yeah. Was it the broken chain?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, the broken chain.
Yeah, they deserved it.
No, the broken chain's, I think, my group, actually. The shattered chain. What was it? It was something. I can't remember what it was. It was
Hold on. The broken line?
the broken line, that was it, yeah. Where they had all of the sort of like cast-off remnants of the porcelain princes. But yeah, so I guess the key question, and we're still wondering whether we take...
The broken line.
Yeah, we're wondering whether or not we take a detour around Long Ridge, or whether that's, you know, the better route, actually. Because maybe the other route is like notoriously filled with bandits or whatever. What are these broken, like the smaller paths along it? You know, like the faded lines?
Let's see. Character keeper map. Oh, these are elevations.
Oh, I see. There's the contours. Right. Cool. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So the south-facing passage is still will be difficult but passable, but not inherently dangerous, at least as far as they know. And I suppose otherwise it is what might we expect at Long Ridge, and what might we expect on either of those two routes? You know what I mean? Like maybe Long Ridge is fine, but the route's terrible. You know what I mean?
So what you hear about the Long Ridge is that it is actually the border of where the actual UVG begins, the Ultraviolet Grasslands. Everything before that is child's play, the nomads say, and the real wilderness begins there. It's not like it's not that the landscape drops dramatically or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it marks the beginning of the Ultraviolet Grasslands.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the traveling, let's see, Long Ridge. I mean, they warn you of ultras, which are ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that they're still vile cultists.
Okay, maybe we skip around that then in the interest of time and me only having 3 HP. Cool.
I guess taking the direct route to South Facing Passage means we spend less time along the borderlands of the Ultraviolet Grasslands.
Yeah.
So it's maybe a simpler route in that regard.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's it. So like I'm perfectly happy with that.
Okay.
I think we're all agreed we can meet at the crossroads and decide then, but I think one thing that occurred to me is that this might be our last chance to buy
food.
Like kit. Well, we got the food, right? We took that out already and the things. But I mean, like,
well, if we're taking a route that takes 2 weeks, we can't buy food on the way. We need 10 sacks.
Oh, did we not buy 10 sacks?
It's on there is 5, so I'll bump that up to 10 and knock off another 50 here.
Do you have the space?
We have the walker, right?
Yes, we do.
We have Johnny.
The walker is at Johnny 7.
Oh, yeah, true.
The walker would have also had the Synthahol, which would clear up enough space in the coach for us.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the walker would have taken the machine parts and anything else that you wanted to kind of not keep around.
But I meant more along the lines of like we've all got money right now, and this is the place we're about to head out. So maybe like if I could buy like You know what I mean? Like, could we buy healing potions and stuff
Yeah.
like this, and like retroactively say that they could have bought some before they left, sort of thing?
Yeah.
Stocking up is reasonable because we're starting to get to the part of the map where
That's not going to
we
be possible.
can't do that.
Mhm.
And it's not even like we get to, we get to South Facing Passage. That's not a place where we can buy things. It's just a place.
Yes.
So
should we just like add stuff to our inventory and take it off? I imagine like some of the weapons might be harder to get hold of.
Yeah, we get to the weapons after Nida visited the tent.
Cool.
So
I mean, I just want to buy healing stuff mainly, like utility things. So yeah. Cool.
I mean, you do know the guy who sells talisman and potions.
Cool. Should we do Nida's and then we can maybe wrap up the session with what did you buy on your shopping trip, kind of thing. Yeah.
All right. So Nida, you enter the tent and there's an older nomad, and she is sewing something.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks up and says, "Yes." Oh, you don't speak steppe, obviously. So we can assume that she speaks badly common, like Rainbow Lander. Yes. What do you want?
I'm looking for weapons and I'm looking for slaves. And I noticed that there is a Yellowlander slave outside. She indicated that her owners were in here. I'd like to purchase her services. I feel more comfortable when I'm amongst my own people. I'm sure you can understand.
I understand. We can have her for 500. She's very talented.
That's an extraordinarily high price for a slave.
She's hardworking.
I would like to know how hardworking she is to warrant that much of an increase. Most slaves, 200 coins tops.
Okay, make a charisma check. Let's see if she's easily impressed.
All right. And since I'm talking about Yellowlanders, do I roll with advantage?
I mean, you talk about Yellowlanders, not to Yellowlanders. I don't really see it, to be honest.
Okay. And then why is my charisma currently at 6?
Oh, actually, you do roll. Are you still? No, you started. When did you inject the Ultra J? That's less than a week ago, is it?
Well, if we're finishing up with my rehab, I thought you said that took a week.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I realize I may be arguing against rolling with stat advantages or stat or whatnot. But.
Let's see, Nida. Your charisma is 6. Why is it? Oh, could it be the eye? No. It's not. I mean, you were addicted to something else, weren't you?
Don't think so. It's not on the character sheet.
No, that was Copernicus. I can't remember. I need to look it up in the session reports. But I mean, it's written down, so I assume that at the end of your healing meditation, that is back to normal. So all your stats are back to normal.
Okay. So no advantage. I'm rolling under or over?
Exactly or under?
Exactly or under? How about double exactly?
Okay, that
18 over 9.
So she insists on the price she told you 500, but she also points you to an arms vendor where you could spend the money maybe more wisely.
I'm going to leave the tent then.
Mm-hmm.
We go over to the arms dealer.
So on the if you go to the character keeper, let's see which weapons are not there is the question. So I would say everything up. So concerning melee weapons, everything up to the scimitar. And concerning range weapons, everything up to the scavenger bolter. And I mean everything on the gun except on the list except the porcelain pistol and the squirt gun.
How did you know what I wanted to buy?
I don't know. Let's see. I can also look at the weapons list in the book and see if there's anything, because I put stuff on the list that you could afford in the first sessions.
Yeah,
but that has obviously changed now. Let's see.
Because the weapon I wanted to buy was the porcelain pistol.
I mean, the scavenger bolter is not that bad. I mean, I think you can buy a shotgun as well, which is obviously short-ranged, but does pretty horrific damage.
How much does a shotgun run me?
So the shotgun is a 2d6 is the damage, and the price would be comparable to. The price would be
musket, bolter, composite bow.
Yeah, probably more like the bolter. So let's say 250, 200.
Yeah, the bolter's 100.
Yeah, exactly. It's 200.
All right. Let's see. I've got my plasma rifle, which is long range. Yeah, I think I want a shotgun.
Nice.
I mean, how can you say no to a shotgun?
Nobody can. Oh, by the way, while you were strolling through while you're at the arms dealer, you seem to recognize a face in the crowd, a Redlander that you have seen in the low road and the high, wearing the same overall and mohawk.
Is it those bandits that we ran into?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One of them, at least.
Do I see any others around?
Of that group, no. It's just that one person.
Are there any possible means of death around that would be easily explained?
What do you mean? Like a heart attack or something?
Or some sort of accident that could plausibly befall someone in a way that would allow me to eliminate this person without actually drawing attention?
I mean, there are a lot of drunks. You could explain that a drunkard would drown in the river, for example.
Has this person noticed me?
No.
Right. I am just going to get the hell out of there as quickly as I possibly can. Take my shotgun and go.
Nice. Okay. At the end of the week, Nida is healed from her addiction. Hamish has acquired stuff and information. Do you want to leave like when the actual festival takes place? You want to leave before, or do you want to stay for the last night?
What, to catch the festival to the end, kind of thing. I am up to something either. I'm fine. So Hamish is happy to hit the road and rejoin the party.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Puckett?
Well, I can't help the Yellowlander slave that I met, so yeah, we should get the hell out of here.
Just roll a d6 to see what you see in the background.
Go for it, Puckett.
You want Hamish to roll that or me?
You roll it, Puckett.
All right, d6. Let's see what we got here. That's 4.
A 4. So the whole when you leave the Vale, you can see in the night sky lines of radiant light cascading into shower of sparks falling from the sky. So there's some kind of meteor shower, you would assume, which seem to end the festivities. And you can hear, people shooting in the sky and the ahs and ohs of the crowd. All right, 2 hours in. Shall we take another break? Is that okay for you? Awesome.
Fine by me.
How long?
Yeah.
Oh, let's say 5 minutes.
Okay.
Hey man, I'm back, just so you know.
Cool.
Same.
Nice.
Well, you know, we sold a total of what, 12,750 gold. Does that equal 12,700 XP for us all? Or
No, the money would be the money from the heist. That is
okay,
not the trading money. So what was it? The 2,000 for the magical kitchen appliance?
it was a total of 3,750. So
Oh yeah,
it's divided by 3, or is that like
yeah. That is divided by 3.
so 1,250?
Oh wow, do we level up? I think so.
I really hope so. I bet you I'll get a 1 on my dice. Got 1 on my dice. Hit dice again. Like,
So the loot we got, that translates directly into XP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Loot is XP.
Because I still have the 250 that I hadn't added on from last time because we hadn't gone
Mhm.
through the whole XP thing.
Mhm.
So considering that Nida has 2,033 XP and her next level is 3,000,
Ooh.
ding.
I think
Ding,
we're all
ding, ding.
leveling up. I have no idea what the level cap is for mine, but I imagine 1,000 is enough to.
So
Did we split up the money from the caravan, or is it all in a pool still?
The caravan money doesn't count toward XP, is what Horst was explaining.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So let's see. Hamish, your next level, I think the strong is 2,000.
Oh, god damn
But
it!
for some reason, they all have different.
Yeah, I had a feeling it would be. It wouldn't be AD&D based if it wasn't needlessly complicated in those regards.
It's OD&D.
Yeah.
The strong.
Which Chris McDowell, I heard, is why he said he called it Into the Odd because of OD&D.
Oh wow! Yeah. That was in the podcast as well.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous because Into the Odd is so much more simple than old school D&D. Strong is 2,000. I will write it on the calendar.
750 more gold to get. Can I steal from the caravan?
How about a high interest loan?
You don't get XP on loan.
Nah. I appreciate the thing. It's just because I rolled a 1 on my HD, so I am a strong with 1 HD with 1 hit point plus 2 from my constitution. So I'm 3 hit points. 1 sneeze will kill me.
Ouch!
I mean,
and you're a folk hero with a big sword.
Yeah, well, I'm like a sort of like shittier Robin Hood, basically. I have the reputation, but the reality is a bit more mercenary.
It's also per combat you can choose to save 1 damage that you would get. Saving throw or like a con check, and that can kill you. I mean, if it fails.
Yeah. No, it's just slightly ridiculous that I have the lowest HP of the group.
Yeah.
You know. Sorry, go ahead.
Since we're still on break, is it okay if I go ahead and just add that XP and handle the level up stuff now?
Yes, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really thinking about using Into the Odd instead of Whitehack. But the problem is I love the D40 list with all these cool character types, and to make it work with Into the Odd, you would have to write 40 different backgrounds, and that seemed to be a bit more work than it is worth.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't seen Electric Bastion Land yet. That might perhaps be slightly more applicable.
Oh, have you seen that there's a collaborative version, like a GM-less Bastionland version? That is so cool. That's the last blog post by Chris McDowell.
Okay, that's cool. I've not looked at Iron Swan either, like GM-less sort of, games. Cool.
All right. So in the background, Puckett is doing the leveling up for his character. So I assume.
Quick question: with 2D +1 for hit dice, do I just add 1 hit point to my current hit points, or do I roll again and add 1?
No, you roll 2d6 and add 1 to the total. And if it's lower than before, then you keep the higher, obviously.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yes, you can buy VC Healing Lotion.
Cool. Do we also get XP for the Vidi crystals?
No.
That we split amongst, because it's Caravan, we don't?
Yeah, it's like money you earn through dangerous means, not through trading.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then, yeah, I would say that is studying. And studying, let's see, I think there was a list.
Potentially another little bit of XP for this study.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Where is it? Discover. No. What was it? Counters. It's called expanding on experience or something. Oh, here, expanding on experience. Study. I would say it is studying something like a new organism, and it's level times 10. Oh, wow, that's not enough. Are you still first level?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think second level is 2,000 XP, 3,000.
No, for you it is, let's see. For the wise, it's less. For some reason. I think the wise. Oh, it's even more. It's 2,500. Jeez.
All right. Well, I am not there yet, so.
Okay, cool. So we meet up again at the at Johnny 7, and now you travel to, like, it's still warm, but not as hot as in the valley. And the countryside is actually, as I described, it's these canyons and arroyos. Let's see. South-facing passage. And it's elevated. You can see the rounded humps of great cedar-shaded hills that you pass. And the further you go, the longer this weird purple tint in the air stays in the morning. So it was in the beginning, when you left the Violet City, it was the sun was blocked out in the morning until 8:30 or something, and by now the whole morning until 10:30 is dominated by this weird purple hue. The air also gets a bit thinner, and you can hear the sounds of like different rodents and other animals. There's some kind of grit, like it's almost like snow in the air, of unknown origin. And let's have a roll for misfortunes. I think it is. Who was the last one? Was it Hamish? I think Nida is the next. Nida, could you roll a d20 and add your charisma modifier, which is probably 0.
I think it's 0. All right, 1d20.
Mm-hmm.
That is 20.
Whoa. So, Jesus. On your journey, at the end of this pretty pleasant journey through these hills, you found a wonderful little oasis full of delicious fish and black light lotus. It is like when you by chance find this oasis, it is almost like this weird feeling of this is too beautiful to be true, almost as if it's like an illusion or something. You have traveled through pretty terrible lands, but this is this is a place that exudes, if that is a word, like peacefulness, you would say. So what do you do in this oasis? Do you stay? Do you look at the beautiful fish and the lotus? You try to catch it, or harvest stuff, or do you travel on?
How big are those fish?
Mm-hmm.
Are they microfish? Yeah.
They are delicious. They're not small.
Was this an under or over roll?
This was over. As high as possible. 20 was good.
Okay. Because I'm sitting here thinking, how is this going to blow up in my face?
Oh, you actually all get 50 XP. It counts as a location.
Okay.
Did the grasslands count as a location?
Did
the grasslands count as Colossus, sorry, count as a location?
No, not for that purpose.
Okay.
Well, it counts as a discovery, this oasis. And so obviously Nida could also make notes about this for her journal.
Yeah, for Mencia.
If you spend the week to harvest the blacklight lotus, I'm not sure if it's a drug. Sounds like a drug. Debauchery. It actually is. So it glows in the dark. Eaten, it cures mental afflictions for a week. Smoked, it brings deep sleep and restores D6 life. Smeared on skin, it exudes mind-altering pheromones, giving D4 charisma for a day. And one dose is 50 cash.
So we're going to stay and harvest some stuff, right?
Mm.
Yeah. We could do with a charisma boost, given that everywhere we go, we need to, talk to people always.
Do we have to spend an entire week here to do this?
In order to harvest a considerable amount, you would have to spend the week there.
Okay. How's Johnny 7 doing?
So Johnny 7 has, because you were traveling, and while traveling you can't do anything, I have now 4 of the 5 X's. So that he's not doing good, well.
Mm-hmm.
He's wheezing, losing parts.
So maybe at this point, the Nida and Hamish, like we are like, hey, this is a place to stop. Nida and Hamish, you can do whatever you want, and Azure and I try to do some repairs.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good. Can we hunt? Can we use the fish here to keep our food up rather than just burn through a week's worth of food? Would that be feasible? Yeah.
That would be like one character could forage and the other could harvest the Black Lotus.
What stat do we use for forage and what stat do we use for harvest?
It's the same, and it is foraging. Let's see. Control F. Yes. Starvation and thirst.
It's been a week since since Saffron and I last kind of interacted with Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
and talking probably, but not actually doing
that
anything.
last kind of the last thing where I was singing to Johnny and stuff. It's been a week since then. Can I try the reverse oracle again, or is that just a wash?
You can try again.
All right, I'll do that. With advantage, right? 10. I got it.
Nice. So you wanted to find out about what happened? Is that true?
No, I was trying to figure out if we could get a bead on either like some way, like some insight on how to repair Johnny, or where the punch cards or where the punch cards came from, or what the location of the punch cards.
So I think you get a vision of. So what's wrong with Johnny 7 is that the code that it's running on is corrupted, and so what you have to do is kind of rewrite the code. You would have to get into the the actual mainframe or the brain tissue and change the information that is stored there. And the way, like, obviously you don't really know what the correct phrase would be, but now you know at least where you have to tinker. And concerning foraging, I just looked up, it's a relevant test. So I would say everything, dexterity, wisdom, even intelligence, depending on how you do it. So, Nida, how do you do it? Or what do you do?
Well, so Hamish, do you want to harvest the Black Lotus, or do you want to fish?
I was wondering. So, what do you need to get a +1 in something? Is 12 a +1, or is that not quite high enough? I don't think, is it?
Trade goods. There's it is 13 is +1, 16 is +2, and 18 is +3. I think for like foraging the Black Lotus, it's just, I don't think that you actually have to roll. The fishing is more how much do you get.
Okay, cool. Which would be Dex. Well, I mean, we're equal on either of those things, really. So unless Highwayman.
You have a slightly higher dex. You're at dex 12, and I'm at dex 11.
Yeah, but I'm still one off getting any kind of boost, unfortunately. So you know what, Hamish? I think Hamish will fish. You're a survivor, right? You're a deft climate migrant, so you probably know more about like scavenging from the land and stuff like that than I would. However, I
think the translation to this is that you want to sit and fish with a line in the water while I do the actual work.
Oh no, neither. That's not what it's about at all. Like, just the best person for the best job for the job, you know. Like, listen, there could be vicious things down there. Right boring, so it is. Yeah. So yes, Hamish will. Do I need to roll something for that? Then?
No. For the you just get the Black Lotus.
No, for the fishing.
Oh, for the fishing, yeah, you actually do have to, and because it's a UVG thing, you have to roll high. D20 at your dexterity modifier, which is 0, and roll as high as possible.
Well, the dice roller was working. Now it's not. So get out my lucky die. Not so lucky. 5. 5.
Oops. So you get. Things are looking very bad. You only collect 1d4 plus 1 supplies.
Okay. Oh well, I got 4 total.
Well, that's not so bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
for a crap roll, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Azure D and Saffron. You have the information. You know that the source code is corrupted. What do you do?
I think the play here is while Azure was doing that, I was attuning interface.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is going to be, I think the negotiation here, or the framing, is we're trying to restore like some coherence to Johnny, keep Johnny together.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're trading parts to help with this partially.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
for like the biological part of it, and we're trading time because we can spend like an entire week, or I can spend like an entire week on the miracle.
Yeah.
And then it's a matter of I'm kind of imagining in fiction, the way I'm imagining this working is Saffron doesn't like intellectually know how to help reprogram the corrupted parts of Johnny 7.
Mm-hmm.
But Saffron giving into their machine nature, a part of their machine self potentially knows how these things should be programmed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm almost imagining it like Saffron opening themselves up to like self-replicate code over into Johnny and seed some of this.
So I would imagine that you have to like physically connect like your positonic brain to theirs.
I imagine that's what we're using some of the parts for, is essentially constructing this extension from one of these brain nodules into something that I can more easily interface with.
So let's see. How do we start miracles? I think
so we need to decide how much
it costs.
HP it'll cost, or like we can negotiate. I have 5 HP right now, so we can do anything below that. Whether this is a D4, whether this is just 4 straight HP.
So I would assume. I mean, and your goal is not necessarily to repair them to their pristine, original.
I think that's more than we can do in a week.
Exactly.
I think that is a huge like ritual with knowledge that we don't have.
And parts that you don't have. I would say what you can do is reverse the decomposing progress clock, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I would say to completely reverse it, it would be 2d6 HP, but you're using parts, and you have time. You have like a week of time.
Yeah.
So that would reduce it to, let's say, a d6.
Okay. We could also do half and half, and I could do two of these and heal myself in between with healing lotion. So it could be like we do a phase 1 and it's like, okay, it's not quite enough, and then we do one more before we set out. If that makes more mechanical sense.
Yeah, it does.
And then maybe that would be like a d4 and a d4.
Yeah, nice.
Sorry, what was that, Abe?
Could my salamander be a buff?
Oh, that is nice. That's a nice idea. That would reduce it to you can do it in one go. You get help, if you will, from another source, and that reduces the cost.
The salamander at US retail.
All right. So, can you describe how that looks like? Do we see a saffron like with parts of the brain exposed and then wires running?
I think it's like for this I'm totally like peeling back my silicone skin and exposing all of this like gleaming circuitry under it, and you see the like back of my head, and I'm very like physically essentially like jacking into this system. Just like let's just lean into the cyberpunky robot part of this.
And how does the spare parts play a role in this?
The parts what we're doing it. I'm imagining like these are like these kind of like biomechanical parts, and we're able to connect them into this brain nodule that I had been kind of touching and communicating with before when we first established contact with Johnny 7. And what this lets me do is kind of interface my cables from the back of my head into this, and I think on screen you see like Saffron's eyes like roll back into their head, and just like Saffron like blanks out in the physical world, because it's essentially Saffron giving into their machine self and letting the like force of self propagate outwards to Johnny 7.
What role does the salamander play? How does it help?
So, Abe, you can kind of pitch in some here, but I imagine because the salamander is good at connecting to ancient machines in particular, I think it would be interesting to see the salamander like helping hook me up as part of it, and then maybe the salamander is essentially playing Overwatch on the connection. Like if we imagine it's like we need something who understands how machines connect together to make sure nothing bad happens. And so the salamander is kind of capping how bad this can affect me. Does that seem cool, or do you have more flavor?
I think from a rules standpoint, the salamander is vulnerable to defective code, which Johnny is totally full of. I made that roll last time, and I don't know if I mean, I would probably have to do it again since I'm going into the belly of the beast as far as the salamander goes, you know.
Yeah.
So I just want to bring that up.
Yeah. Would this expose the salamander, and we need a roll horse? Or is this just positioning, and we can do it in a way that doesn't expose it?
I'm
Happy not to roll.
Yeah, I'm always fond of like not necessarily seeing if whether it works or not works, but what are the consequences?
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on 1 second, guys. I'll be right back.
No worries.
Okay. In the meantime, let's see. There's the south-facing passage. Oh, here.
Hi, guys. Sorry, I had to let my daughter back in my apartment.
Cool. All right, so Azur D, why don't you make a roll? And what was the last time? Was it intelligence?
Yeah, I think it was.
And I would say make a roll with advantage because you know, like you have together with Saffron studied the beast for some time now.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it. I rolled a 3.
Nice. All right. Cool. So I will reduce the clock back. And so while Johnny Seven was, parking in this oasis, obviously he was constantly leaking the source code. So part of the oasis is now ruined, at least for some time. But at the end of the week, you both of you, Azur and Saffron, have you get the reading that the degeneration process has been stopped. Even the leaking has been reduced. You're stuck on fish and black lotus, and you leave the oasis behind in a less than optimal state, obviously. But
did we reverse the decay at all on time?
Yes.
Or did we just arrest it? Okay.
Yeah, you reverse the decay to when you when you met him for the first time.
So that
Okay.
means we bought
His
ourselves
doomsday.
quite a few weeks.
Yes, you bought yourself at least the time to the Fallen Umber.
I thought the decay had stopped.
Now that would be like the major miracle that would include, I don't know, like the parts that you're looking for at the Fallen Umber.
Okay.
Okay, why don't we make the encounter roll for the south-facing passage, which is, let's see, I think, Nida, it's your turn if I go through the character keeper.
Okay. And then do we have to track how much Black Lotus we got?
Oh yeah, definitely. You got. You need to write down. It is D6 sacks and
D6 sacks, huh?
yeah.
All right, die. Come on. Be good to me. Not bad. That's a 3.
That's not too bad at all. And according to the drugs list, see. So it's 50 cash a dose.
How many
That's
doses per sack?
If a dose is a stone, I think it's 10 stone per sack. So it would be
30 doses?
No, it would be 500 per sack.
500 doses per sack.
No, it's like the dose is I would say 10 per sack.
Okay, 10 doses per sack.
So it would be we don't write down the doses. We write unless I see. You can obviously also use the stuff as
if we need it.
boost.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think the use is perhaps more useful to us than the money at this point.
Yeah, because you're loaded. That's true. Okay,
and I mean 500 isn't that much at this point.
That's true. And Nyla, could you also roll let's see. I need the book, man. Why don't they just ship the book?
So I want to make sure that all the people who got their ridiculous tier
I
stuff
know.
first. And that's understandable. I mean, those are the people who really threw the money at it.
That's true.
Now, do you have to scroll through the F repeatedly?
Yeah, I know. I do. So can you please roll a D8?
D8. Okay. That is 2.
Interesting. Ooh, wow. Ouch. Okay, so when you're leaving the oasis and you're traveling alongside this hills that are with trees on them, and during the day, it is a rather warm day, and you see these grit stuff in the air, and Vigo, who is is beside whoever is operating the wagon. He all of a sudden says, "Ultras, I can sense them." And from the side of the hill, there's let's see how many. I'll get my dice. There's 5 flickering figures, like running wild down the hills. And while they're running, they're changing their shape slightly. They flicker through different types, like some kind of a cat to a humanoid to some kind of bear, and approach the caravan. And I think this might be a good place to cut.
Yeah, that sounds good as a cliffhanger.